I work at an asylum. The bone-chilling secret inmate hidden in the attic at 3am moon hung low, casting a ghostly glow on the old asylum. Its cracked windows whispered secrets of the past, a symphony of horrors trapped within those brick walls. The air was thick with tension, heavy enough to choke a man. On nights like these, darkness crept in, curling around the shadows like a predator waiting for its prey. And tonight, curiosity would guide me through the labyrinth of the unknown, or lead me to my doom. I stood at the entrance, gripping the rusted handle of the door, feeling the pulse of dread racing through me. I heard the murmurs, the rumors of strange sounds echoing from the attic, of a figure that lingered between nightmares and reality. The stories varied. Some claimed it was a restless spirit, others swore it was the last inmate left to rot in the bowels of the asylum, forgotten by time and sanity. It was a folklore that sent shivers down my spine, igniting my thirst for the truth. As I stepped inside, the door creaked, an eerie welcome. The corridors stretched infinitely, each one a twisted path into madness. The scent of damp and decay assaulted my senses, forcing me to swallow hard against the lump in my throat. My heart thundered, pounding with the urgency to uncover what lay hidden above, the attic. An energy hummed through the building, beckoning me closer to the source of that chilling mystery. I climbed the rickety stairs, each step groaning under my weight. I could almost hear whispers, fingers trailing along the walls, pulling me deeper into their dark embrace. My hands trembled as I reached for the attic door. But just then, something crashed above, a loud thud that sent shockwaves through my body. Was it a trick of the mind? Or was someone waiting for me up there? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. I turned the doorknob, its metal cold and unyielding. My heart raced as I swung it open. The attic was dark, shadows swirling like phantoms in the corners. Dust motes floated lazily in the air, and as I squinted, I saw something in the far corner, a figure huddled and still. It was a mound of fabric, or maybe a person. My thoughts shattered in an instant, but before I could scream, a low, rasping voice cut through the silence. Help me, what was happening? Who was up there? My gut twisted, and I edged closer, every instinct screaming to flee. And yet I couldn't turn back. The mystery demanded my attention, my sanity. Because somewhere in that attic, beneath the layers of dust and despair, lay the truth. And the truth, I knew, wouldn't rest until it was uncovered. The figure shifted, a ragged breath filling the silence. My instincts threw me into a fight or flight mode, and for a split second, I considered bolting back down the stairs. But curiosity glinted like a knife, sharp and demanding. Who are you? I whispered, my voice barely more than a tremor against the oppressive quiet. The figure rose, unraveling itself from the shadows. It was a woman, disheveled hair framing a face etched with anguish and fear. I've been trapped, she gasped, her eyes wide like saucers, glistening in the dim light. Please help me. Trapped? My heart raced. It felt absurd, this exchange steeped in madness. How did you get up here? Her gaze shifted, something flickering past her eyes like a flame before it extinguished. I can't remember. They don't let me leave the voices they want to let me. A chill danced down my spine. What was happening? Who was she? My heart twisted as her desperation seeped into my bones. The asylum was notorious for its methods, treatments that sparked legends of horror. Are you a patient? I asked, cautiously moving closer. Patient? Her laugh was a harsh sound that cracked like a whip in the quiet. I'm not a patient. I was a caretaker. I came here to help. Help with what? I pressed, inching closer. The shadows around her seemed to ripple, as if they were alive. The patients, they needed someone like me to listen. Suddenly, The attic door slammed shut behind me, and I gasped, stumbling backward. Terror surged through me, a primal instinct to escape. I turned, yanking the doorknob, but it wouldn't budge. Panic clawed at my throat. "Let me out!" The woman's expression morphed into something darker. "You can't leave now. You're part of it. You must know the truth." "What truth?" My voice was barely audible over the pounding of my heart. "The reason we are here, why they keep us locked away, it's not what they say." She took a single step forward, trembling. "It's worse, much worse." I could barely breathe, caught in her gaze that held an unsettling mixture of fear and urgency. "What do you mean?" Just then, a flurry of rustling erupted from behind her. A cacophony of whispers seeped through the walls, swirling around us like an invisible storm. Help us, join us, it's too late." The woman staggered, grappling with unseen forces, her eyes wild. "They're all here. You have to listen. You have to." A shadowy figure shot past me, a silent wraith, too quick to identify. Before I could react, it knocked the woman back, sending her sprawling onto the attic floor. The air evaporated from my lungs, a sense of tangible dread thickening all around me. "Stay away!" I shouted, voice strained. I couldn't tell if I was shouting at the lurking shadows or at my own rising fear. And then, as if answering my panic, the anguished whispers grew loud, a maddening torrent of voices. "Join us, know the truth, forever becoming." I turned to flee, scrambling against the door, throwing my weight against it. It creaked ominously, refusing to surrender. A hand grabbed my arm, cold and clammy, sending ice coursing through my veins. "Stay with me." The woman's voice cracked, but I was beyond reason. I flung her hand away, a burst of adrenaline flooding my senses as I finally forced the door open. With a final look back, the woman's face transformed, twisted in torment. "You'll regret leaving. You don't know what you're giving up." I stumbled down the corridor, my mind splintering as hysteria threatened to take over. Each step brought the pounding in my chest closer to exploding. In the darkness behind me, shadows danced, whispering secrets of madness. But as I fled the attic, something gnawed at me. Had I really escaped? Or had I only just begun to unearth a nightmare far greater than I could comprehend? In the heart of the asylum, something dark and ancient stirred, awakening from its long slumber, and I feared it wasn't done with me yet. The corridor yawned in front of me, an abyss of flickering lights and oppressive shadows. I stumbled, each step heavy with dread. My heart did a frantic dance, fast, erratic, unsure of what terror might chase me through this forsaken maze. I had made it out of the attic, but the woman's words echoed in my mind like a haunting refrain. "You're part of it. You must know the truth." Part of what? A sick game? A twisted secret? My breath came in shallow gasps, panic clawing at my insides as I fought the urge to scream. Just ahead, a door loomed, its paint peeling like old skin. I rushed toward it, praying I could find a way out. But as my fingers grazed the cold metal handle, the lights flickered violently overhead, plunging the hallway into darkness. A rush of icy air filled my lungs, and dread swept over me like a tidal wave. Help us!" The whisper floated through the darkness, a chilling chant that wrapped around me. I spun, seeking the source of the voice, feeling pressed against an unseen wall of fear. They were here. Those shadows. Those voices. They had followed me. "Who's there?" I managed to croak. The air thickened, charged with malevolence. No answer came, only silence, heavy and suffocating. I gripped the handle tighter, summoning whatever courage remained. I flung the door open, stumbling inside. The small room was barren, filled with dust and the stale scent of despair. My heart raced, but I allowed myself a moment of stillness. I needed to clear my head. In the faint light filtering from a cracked window, something glittered on the floor. Curiosity tugged at me, cutting through the fog of panic. I stepped closer. It was a key, dull and rusty, its history hidden in layers of grime. Why was it here? As I picked it up, a jolt of adrenaline buzzed through me. Maybe this could unlock a way out. I pocketed it, my fingers trembling. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind me, trapping me in darkness once again. Panic surged within me like a flood, but I forced myself to breathe. I had to think. I couldn't lose control again. The whispers returned, louder and more insistent. Join us, they swirled around me like an angry storm. Shadows shifted, distracting me. I focused on them, trying to pinpoint their movements, hard hammering. Stop! I yelled, desperation boiling over. I didn't want to join anything. I was a survivor, not a victim. I turned, pounding on the door, seeking freedom. But it held fast, unyielding like the truth I was still seeking. Then it hit me, the woman in the attic. The truth, it's not what they say. Out of nowhere, the frantic memories crashed over me like a tidal wave. Her eyes, so full of fear and urgency. It's worse, much worse. The walls seemed to pulse in response to the whispers, throbbing as if they contained a life of their own. Something terrible lurked beneath the surface, waiting for someone a key like me. Suddenly, from the corner of my eye, I saw a flicker of movement. It was fleeting. Just a shadow darting at the edges of the room. My breath caught as I squinted into the dimness, fighting against my instincts urging me to flee. Who's there? I whispered shakily. Silence swallowed my words, but the shadows danced again, fluid and treacherous. And then, one of them coalesced into a figure, thick mist swirling, until it took on the faint shape of a man. He stepped toward me, eyes like dark voids. Help us, he echoed, echoing the chant that filled the halls. My breath quickened, a lump threatening to choke me. And before I could cry out, before I could comprehend what I was witnessing, his hand shot out, cold and clawed. Join us, the room spun, and I felt the ground give beneath my feet. I stumbled back, and my heart plummeted, the darkness closing in around me. Had I come too close to the truth? In that moment, I realized this was only the beginning. What was waiting for me in the depths of this asylum? What secrets lay just beyond the abyss? As nothing but whispers filled the air, the ground quaked beneath the weight of hidden horrors yet to be revealed. I stumbled back, the room swirling with madness, and the figure loomed larger, its features sharpening in the darkness. Join us, the voice was a blend of 1,000 murmurs, each one peeling away at my sanity. I pressed against the wall, desperate to keep the encroaching shadows at bay. Who are you? My voice was barely a whisper, but I wouldn't give in. I refused to be a puppet for whatever malevolent force had taken root in this cursed place. The apparition shifted closer, the chill emanating from it freezing me in place. I could feel it push against my chest, a weight of despair pressing down on my heart. We are lost souls, trapped crying for release. It extended its bony hand, nails like twisted claws glinting with the faint light. Release us, it intoned, eyes absorbing every shred of light, as if they could swallow my very essence. I shivered, wishing I could shake this nightmare off, but the walls around me vibrated with a life of their own. They pulsed, whispering all the secrets they had harbored for so long. But I was not here to join anyone. I was here to escape. With a surge of adrenaline, I tore my gaze from the figure and lunged toward the door, pounding against the unyielding surface, but it wouldn't budge. The handle was slick with fear. No grip could save me now. Stop, please, I can help you, I cried, my voice cracking against the cacophony of whispers. The figure paused, its face shifting a momentary flicker of emotion, and then, a sinister smile split its features. There was something almost human in that smile, a desperation that mirrored my own. Help us? What do you know of help? It hissed. You came to us drawn by your own dark desire. My breath quickened as memories flooded back, dreams of facing my demons, of confronting the realities I had buried deep. But could I really trust these tortured souls? Their cries echoed around me, weaving together into a haunting tapestry of anguish. No! I couldn't let them drag me down. I wouldn't be like the others. Desperately, I fumbled in my pocket, fingers closing around the cold metal of the key. What door would it open? What truth would it reveal? Maybe it can help, I murmured, holding it up as if it were a weapon against the darkness. The ghostly figure tilted its head, curious, but the shadows writhed, eager to reclaim me. Don't you see? it whispered, voice now cold as ice. This key unlocks everything, even your heart. My heart raced at the implication. I felt it pounding against my ribcage, panic swelling inside. If I unlocked the truth, would I join them? Would I become just another lost soul in this hellish place? With a great effort, I pushed away the voices, the haunting figures of the past. I reached the door with shaking hands and thrust the key into the lock. My hands trembled as I turned it, each click sending shocks through my spine. The door creaked open, revealing a blinding light that cut through the oppressive shadows. I stepped forward, almost drawn into the brightness, but the figure lunged, grabbing my arm with cold fingers. Leave us and the truth will follow. There is no escape without sacrifice. With a surge of strength, I broke free from its grasp and charged through the light, racing ahead into the unknown. But as the door slammed shut behind me, the whispering grew louder, more insistent. There was no safe haven beyond this threshold. I turned to see the door transform into a wall, sealing my past behind it. The shadows faded, but the lurking dread remained, a beast waiting on the fringes of my mind. What had I unleashed? Had I stepped into the light, or traded one shadow for another? Ahead, a new corridor stretched out, brighter than before but tinged with an unsettling aura. The air buzzed, crackling with anticipation. I had escaped the room, but the asylum still held its secrets tightly. As I ventured deeper into its heart, one question loomed above all: what awaited me in the next chamber? What deeper horrors would be revealed beneath the asylum's chilling veneer? I stepped into the corridor, the sudden brightness nearly overwhelming. It was a stark contrast to the darkness that had almost consumed me just moments before. But the light felt wrong, unnatural. It flickered, casting unsettling shadows on the walls, which seemed to twist and turn under the flickering glow. Each step echoed with a hollow sound, reverberating against the stone walls like a warning bell. My heart raced. What lay down this path? I could see doors lining both sides, heavy wood framed in rusted metal. Some were ajar, revealing faint glimpses of what appeared to be empty rooms. Others were sealed tight, whispers of the past caught within. I stepped cautiously, drawn to the closed doors, each one promising secrets. But I couldn't linger. The whispers from the other side urged me forward, pulling me gently, but insistently, deeper into the hallway. Suddenly, a cold draft swept past, sending a shiver down my spine. It carried with it a faint sound of childish laughter, echoing and disembodied, tugging at a part of me I didn't want to acknowledge. I paused, my feet rooted to the ground. Is anyone there? I called out, the sound of my own voice feeling foreign and lonely in this desolate space. The laughter faded, replaced by a soft, creaking sound, like the scratching of nails against wood. I turned to find one of the doors, an unmarked one toward the end of the corridor, slowly opening. A sliver of darkness yawned wide, revealing a yawning void. In that moment, I felt a rush of fear and curiosity. I had to know what was behind that door. I took a step, then another, until I stood at the threshold. The air thickened with a sweet, metallic scent, reminiscent of blood and rust. Heart pounding, I peered inside. What I saw made my gut twist. A small, dimly lit room cluttered with dust-covered furniture. But it was the far wall that caught my attention. An old mirror stood, the glass clouded and cracked, showing reflections that made no sense. It flickered with images not just of me, but of the figure from the room before, and of anguished faces peering through, faces I recognized from the very shadows I thought I had escaped. I staggered back, clutching my chest. What is this? I gasped, but the mirror reflected only the continued chaos of my own panicked expression. Then, the sound of distant weeping broke through the thick tension. It resonated within, pulling at my very core. I stumbled back. There was something profoundly wrong with this asylum, something I needed to confront. I took a deep breath and stepped further inside. The room felt alive, the shadows twisting around me like tendrils. I approached the mirror again, drawn to the sorrowful faces. Release us, they seemed to plead. Help us. Suddenly, the room shuddered. The air crackled, and the mirror darkened until it was completely black, a void that threatened to engulf me. Images began to swirl within the glass, shimmering like water. It felt like pulling me in, challenging my very existence. Stop! I shouted, grasping the edges of the frame. I won't succumb to this. But deep inside, I felt the truth about to flood over me, the truths no one would dare reveal about this place. A hand shot through, fingers cold against my wrist. Panic surged as I turned, vowing to break free. But there was no turning back now. The whispering shadows started to claw at me, each voice a blend of my doubts, fears, and suppressed memories. Just as my resolve threatened to shatter, the door creaked open wider. A figure appeared, cloaked in darkness, gazing directly at me with eyes like two bottomless pits. Witness the horrors within or remain lost in your own, it whispered. It was now or never. I had to confront this terror. I had to uncover the twisted secrets buried deep in the asylum. What awaited me next could either liberate me or seal my fate. I took a breath, steeling myself for whatever lay ahead. The next step would draw me closer to understanding why the asylum held its secrets so tightly and why I was fated to discover them. Could I handle the truth? Or would it consume me whole? The shadows pulsed and twisted as the figure stepped closer. My heart thundered in my chest. Who are you? I managed to gasp, feeling my voice tremble as it escaped into the eerie silence. Its lips curled into a faint, mirthless smile. I am the keeper of memories, the custodian of despair. With that, a chill crept up my spine, freezing me in place. I could feel an invisible weight pressing down on my shoulders. Memories? I echoed, hardly able to breathe. What did it mean? My thoughts tangled as the shadows continued to weave around me, constricting my awareness and blurring everything into confusion. Those you see, they're not mere reflections. They are echoes. The figure gestured to the mirror, my own terrified face now mingling with the tortured spirits trapped like moths in a flame. They exist here, forever longing for release. They need a vessel, someone to remember their pain and to end their suffering. No! I want to be a part of this nightmare. I shouted, taking a step back, but my feet felt rooted to the ground. The room vibrated with a low hum, and I was caught in its rhythm. Then you remain lost, it intoned, and suddenly the room shifted. The furniture darkened, and ghostly figures materialized, their anguished faces swirling around me. The very air crackled with their despair, a palpable force weighing me down. I stumbled, clawing at the air, desperately seeking a way out. Please! Let me go! I screamed, but instead, a shadow moved closer, brushing against my skin like ice. I shuddered at the cold touch, feeling more than just the absence of warmth. It was like pure loneliness seeping into my bones. Only through understanding can you escape, the figure whispered, sounding both gentle and foreboding. Every soul here has a story. Without acknowledgement, they cannot rest. Will you listen? Before I could respond, the mirror shifted again, and I found myself staring into the eyes of a child, innocent and wide, full of fear. Help her, the child's voice echoed, breaking through the cacophony. My pulse quickened as I recognized the familiar face, Mary, the little girl who had been missing for years. Mary! My heart clenched as I realized her plight. Her presence was a tether, a beacon of clarity amidst the chaos. Where are you? What happened? In the attic, her voice faded, swallowed by the room's turmoil. Find me, please. No! Wait! I cried, but the mirror erupted in a torrent of shadows, engulfing me in their darkness. My mind raced with frantic thoughts, Mary's laughter, her pain, the mysteries of this asylum. Was she one of those trapped souls? With renewed determination, I cast a glance toward the cloaked figure. How do I find her? I demanded. Follow the echoes, embrace the truth. It gestured toward the doorway that had opened wider, revealing an unsettling stairwell spiraling up to the attic. My pulse raced. That was my answer, the way to save Mary and uncover the dark secrets this place held. Heart pounding, I cast one last wary look at the mirror. The sorrowful faces were watching me intently. I won't abandon you, I promised, my voice steadying as I turned toward the darkened stairwell. Each step echoed loudly as I ascended, the air thickening with the memories of the lost souls that had wandered these halls. I could feel their longing, their despair wrapping around me like a shroud, and then I heard it, a soft, melodic whisper drifting through the cracked walls. Help us help her. What awaited me in the attic? Would I find Mary? Or was I stepping further into a trap designed to ensnare me just like the others? As I reached the door at the top, a sense of deep foreboding washed over me. I hesitated, hand hovering over the knob. The air thickened, crackling with energy, and a wave of chilling resolve washed over me. Did I dare to turn the handle? I took a deep breath, steadying my racing heart, and gripped the doorknob. It felt icy beneath my palm. Time stretched as I hesitated, the air around me crackling, humming with anticipation. I could almost hear the whispers of the trapped souls urging me on, each pleading for deliverance. But would opening this door lead me to salvation or doom? With a swift turn, I pushed the door open. The hinges creaked, a sharp reminder of the age of this place. The attic loomed before me like a dark abyss. Dust motes danced in the single beam of moonlight filtering through a small, grimy window. The slant of the roof cast eerie shadows across the wooden floor, making it feel alive, pulsating with a sinister energy. Mary? I called, my voice trembling. Are you here? Silence responded, heavy and suffocating. I stepped inside, every creak of the floorboards echoing around me. Shadows flitted at the edge of my vision, the mere suggestion of movement sparking a primal fear deep inside. Something was up here with me. I could feel it. The attic was cluttered with forgotten memories, old trunks, tattered sheets, and broken toys. Each item seemed laden with sorrow, a testament to lives that once flourished before this place drew them in. As I stepped over a dusty rocking horse, I felt a chill wrap around me, almost like a warning. Help us, the whisper echoed again, this time louder, more insistent. Where are you? I demanded, my voice tinged with desperation. I moved farther into the room, searching every shadow, every corner. I'm here to help. Suddenly, a muffled sound caught my attention. Almost like a soft sobbing. Panic surged through me, driving me to a rickety door in one corner that looked even older than the rest of the attic. I tried the knob, and it rattled, stuck from years of neglect. Mary! I shouted, banging on the door. Is that you? The sobs stopped, replaced by a tremor of silence. I felt the weight of 1,000 eyes upon me, watching, waiting. Taking a deep breath, I leaned my shoulder against the door, pushing with all my might. It creaked ominously, the wood protesting, but eventually it shuddered open, revealing a small, dark room beyond that. I peered into the gloom. My breath caught in my throat. An old cot lay inside, and on it, a small girl crouched, her arms wrapped around her knees. But something was wrong. Her eyes were sunken, her skin pale as moonlight. Mary? I whispered, stepping closer. Oh, Mary! I found you! She didn't respond, instead staring past me as if looking for something beyond the moment. The atmosphere shifted, an oppressive weight filling the space. I felt a creeping dread, a cold realization. Help, she murmured, a hint of anger laced in her voice. You came to find me, but you shouldn't have. A low rumble echoed through the attic, the walls vibrating. I turned back, the shadows flickering around us, growing more erratic. The whispers surged again, a cacophony of contrasting cries now. Leave her be! Shrieked one spirit, distorting the air with tension. Don't listen! Cried another, the world itself trembling between us. Mary's expression morphed, darkening. They keep me here. Help me end it. And what? I asked, fear tightening around my chest. There was a sudden shift, the air grew heavier, particles swirling, as if the very space was alive with dread. I realized too late that I might not be the savior I thought I was. Instinct kicked in. I backed away, but Mary lunged forward, energy crackling around her as she transformed. The girl I had seen moments before shifted to something else, her face torn with anguish, her eyes swallowing me with shadows. What have I unleashed? I gasped, heart racing. The air around me thickened, making it hard to breathe. I stumbled backward into the shadows, fighting the pull of whatever dark magic was at work. I was trapped in a web of despair, the memories swirling, overwhelming me. I had to escape, but Mary, whatever she had become, blocked my path. I could feel the pull of the spirits, their stories entwined with hers. I had entered this attic for a rescue, but now I might need saving myself? How could I confront this darkness without losing myself to it? Just as I turned to flee, the shadows surged forward, grasping at my limbs. I struggled. Let me go! Not until the truth is revealed, Mary's voice echoed, chilling, leaving me trembling in uncertainty. What truth? I had to know, but could knowledge free me, or would it bind me further into the grasp of the lost? The whispers grew louder, drowning my senses as I braced for an inevitable confrontation. Was it too late to save Mary? And save myself? The shadows tightened around me, their weight pulling me deeper into the attic's dread. I could feel their cold tendrils creeping up my arms, squeezing like a vice. I gasped, struggling against the anguish pressing in from all sides. Mary! I shouted, my voice breaking, frantic. What truth? She blinked, her once innocent features now twisted into a mask of fear and despair. The truth about this place, it's not just me they want. The old room pulsed, echoes of forgotten laughter and cries intertwining, a melody of sorrow that seeped into my bones. What do you mean? I pressed, unwilling to let the darkness swallow my voice. Suddenly, the room seemed to vibrate with energy. The walls shivered as if the attic itself recoiled at her words. The spirits, they were never free. They're bound to their stories. It's the only thing keeping the darkness at bay. I blinked, confusion mingling with terror. Stories? Every soul that suffered here, their pain fuels the very walls. They are trapped until they are heard. Her voice trembled, but the anger behind it flared again. But the more I listen, the stronger they become. I can't break free. I need you to help me. Her outstretched hand trembled, and an almost desperate look crossed her face. My heart raced. How could I trust a girl who had morphed into something sinister? But what choice did I have? If the walls clung to their memories like parasites, I was standing at the mouth of a chasm, teetering at the edge. And yet something in Mary's expression stirred a flicker of compassion within me. I'll help you, but you have to promise to lead me away from this place. My voice rose above the cries, fueled by determination. If there was a chance to release these spirits, I wouldn't abandon it. The attic seemed to breathe, the shadows quivering at my declaration. You do not understand. A voice screeched, anger churning within the depths of the darkness. We are their voices. Shut up! I shouted back, pushing down my fear. You don't own her. You're just using her. Mary's face flickered, a push and pull between her human side and the accumulating darkness around us. Help me face them. You must listen, just as I have. Or we'll all be lost together. The urgency in her voice pierced through the chaos. I stepped closer, my resolve strengthening. Okay. I promise I'll listen. At that moment, the shadows roared, swirling into a tempest of anguish and agony, surrounding us. They pressed in, voices rising in a thunderous symphony of despair, filling the air until it crackled with tension. Release us! They cried from every corner, a maelstrom of haunting wails and tormented whispers, merging into a single, maddening chorus. The ground shook beneath me, as if warning that this was a point of no return. Focus! Mary shouted, her voice steady despite the chaos. Listen to their stories. I closed my eyes, forcing myself to breathe deeply, drowning out the cacophony around me. I needed to clear my mind. The wind howled through the slats, but as the whispers intensified, I felt something shift within me. Real stories began surfacing, visions unfolding like ragged pages of a long-forgotten book. A glimpse of children playing, laughter that twisted into screams, a mother weeping, hands stained with the innocence of youth. Suddenly, the vision faltered. I saw Mary again, but her features were clearer, sorrow etched on her brow, her body trembling as she absorbed the stories. The confusion in her eyes told me she was losing herself. Stay with me, Mary, I urged, grasping her arm tightly, anchoring her back to me. Focus on us. The tumult of spirits surged, and their cries intensified. You must acknowledge our pain. But just then, A dark laugh erupted from the mass of shadows, reverberating through the attic with chilling force. They won't be allowed to go. Not while my darkness festers. I shivered, realizing the stranglehold this entity had over Mary. I had to face this darkness head-on or risk losing everything. Now, Mary! We must push back. The air crackled with our combined energy, focusing on the flickering images of all those trapped souls. I poured my heart into releasing their stories. You are free, you are heard. No more anguish. With each word, I felt the pull of the shadows weaken, but then came the desperate cries ricocheting inside my skull. Don't let go. Mary's voice pierced through, her fear igniting my resolve. I opened my eyes, hoping to meet hers once more, but instead, I found an impenetrable blackness closing in, threatening to seal us forever. Would we break free from this malevolence? Or would I become just another story trapped within the attic's walls? As the darkness thickened, I realized one thing. I had sparked a greater battle, and I was in it whether I wanted to be or not. Was there enough strength left to fight? Or had I truly awakened a nightmare? I felt the weight of the darkness press in on all sides, suffocating and cold. The whispers grew louder, each one clawing at my mind, a chaotic amalgam of sorrow and rage. The vision of Mary before me blurred, absorbed as she was, spiraling into despair. I clenched her arm tighter, aware that our connection was the only lifeline to pull her back from the abyss. Mary, fight this! I shouted, my voice barely rising above the crescendo of mourning voices. We can do this together. Together, she echoed, though it came out weak, like a fading echo in the vastness of a hollow room. My heart sank, fear twisting in my gut. I needed her strength, but I could feel her essence slipping away, consumed by the very stories we aimed to set free. One voice emerged from the storm, resonating deeper than the others. It snarled, contempt dripping from each word. You think you can save them? They belong to me. Their suffering sustains my power. A chill ran through me, and I took a half-step back. Who are you? I demanded, attempting to summon courage amidst the onslaught. What do you want? There was a pause, a heavy moment suspended in the chaos, and then it laughed, a sound that sent a shiver down my spine. I am their guardian and their doom. My shadows ensure they never leave this place, bound forever by their despair. The air crackled with electric energy, and I felt the floor tremble beneath my feet. But we can set them free! I shouted, more to convince myself than the sinister presence looming in the darkness. They deserve peace. Peace? The voice mocked. They know only pain. To hear them is to suffer. You think you can carry their burdens? The shadows surged closer, swirling around my legs like a living creature, dark fingers latching on and yanking me downward. My breath hitched, panic surged through me. I needed to remain standing, to face this darkness, but I could feel it slowly breaking me down. In that moment of despair, I looked at Mary. She was trembling, torn between light and shadow. I couldn't let her be swallowed whole. Mary, listen to me. Share their stories. Let them flow out from you, and we'll cast this darkness away. Her eyes flickered with uncertainty, but something in my voice seemed to spark a flicker of hope. I'll try. As she focused, more memories surged forth, images of laughter, love, then betrayal so deep it pulsed like an open wound. She squeezed my hand, the warmth grounding me against the biting cold. They can't hold on much longer. But even as she tapped into the pain of these lost souls, I felt the malevolent entity begin to push back with a fury that sent shockwaves through the very foundation of the house. No! You will not take them from me! Its fury echoed, shaking the rafters above us and rattling the very bones of the attic. Mary! Now! I urged, my mind racing. Let it all out. We will break the chains. As if on cue, Mary seemed to plunge into the depths of sorrow and rage, her voice quaking as she recounted story after story, each one spilling like dark ink into the air. The shadows reacted, twisting and convulsing, shrieking in terror at the release of the souls that had been locked away too long. Don't stop! I yelled, urging her on. Let them feel and let them speak. The air thickened with howls, the anguished stories intertwined like roots straining for the sunlight one last time. But as the shadows weakened, the entity reeled, furious. "You cannot extinguish me! I will devour you!" Suddenly, the room erupted in cacophonous screams, the walls trembling as if alive. I felt the energy shift. A surge of strength coursed through me as the stories began not just to escape but to strike back. The walls themselves seemed to absorb the tales, leaving behind a shimmering new light, the promise of release. Just when it felt like we were winning, a darkness burst forth, encompassing us like a whip cracking in the night. I could barely hear Mary's voice over the whirlwind, but I sensed we were nearing a breaking point either for us or for them. "Mary, hold on!" I shouted, heart racing, but the shadows wrapped around my throat, forcing the air from my lungs. Would we gather our strength together in time, or would we be cast into the eternal gloom? As I gasped in desperation, the last whisper echoed ominously, leaving me with a question that slammed into my heart: what would we have to sacrifice to win this battle? The air crackled with tension, shadows swirling ominously around us as the dark entity's laughter rang like shattered glass. My heart thundered in my chest as I struggled to breathe, each gasp a reminder of the weight pressing down upon me. "We have to believe!" I shouted, my voice breaking the suffocating darkness. "We can do this together!" Mary's trembling form flickered within the oppressive shadows. Despite the fear etched on her features, I could see a glimmer of something else, a fragment of hope intertwining with her anguish. "Together," she whispered, but her voice was barely audible, battling against the storm of despair around us that I reached deep within, finding the anger that fueled my fire. These souls deserve to be heard. They deserve release. The shadows hissed, recoiling slightly as my words roused a flicker of defiance within Mary. "You have their stories," I urged her, gripping her hand. "Let them free!" The room vibrated, the walls pulsating with the intensity of our combined hope and fear. "No!" The dark presence shrieked as I spoke. "They belong to me. I am their keeper." But as it raged, I could feel its hold wavering. Mary stepped forward, her face set with determination. "Your lies can't hold me anymore," she yelled, her voice gaining strength. "I will share their pain. I will show the truth." The shadows shrieked in fury, but Mary pressed on, pulling from her core the many lives and stories that lingered in the depths of this sinister place. The air shimmered, thin threads of light emerging as she recited their tales. Here was the laughter of a child, the weeping of a mother, a man's regret echoing in the dark. With each confession, colors seeped into the shadows, a kaleidoscope of memories spiraling outward. "Help us!" the voices cried, now transformed. They mingled with Mary's strength, igniting a beacon of light against the overwhelming darkness. Soon, the walls of the attic trembled, flickering as the malevolent entity tried to reclaim its hold, but I wouldn't allow it. "Stand firm," I urged Mary, my heart racing as I felt the shadows retreating, their forms splintering under the strength of our fight. "We are with them," I shouted, raising our joined hands toward the swirling mass. "We will not let you take them again." With one final push, we unleashed every story, every cry for help that had echoed through these walls for far too long. A roar erupted, a cacophony of anguish transformed into a chorus of hope. The shadows writhed, tearing apart in a blaze of brilliance, unraveling the very fabric that had bound them. In that moment, light burst forth like a sunrise breaking through the night. The oppressive darkness fled, and for the first time, I felt the weight of the shadows lifting. The stories entwined with our essence, flooding the room with warmth and emotion, filling the attic with a gentle glow. Mary the first breathed, my spirit soaring as I watched her transform, the darkness dissipating around her. Her eyes sparkled like stars as she embraced her true self, free from torment. "You did it!" I gasped, all flooding my veins. But even as the shadows fled, a whisper brushed my ear, warning me. "You think you have won?" The dark presence hissed, its form seemingly receding but still lurking in the corners of my mind. I trembled. I had faced so much, yet the truth hung heavily in the air like an unresolved note. Mary stood tall beside me, her face illuminated with determination. We face the darkness together, she said softly, her voice steady. And we'll keep fighting. We knew the battle was far from over, wary of the entity that had claimed these spirits for too long. I wouldn't let you keep their stories captive, I declared, feeling the strength rise within me. They deserve to live, to be remembered. And with that declaration, the attic around us glowed brightly, transforming into a landscape filled with laughter and memories once lost. Each shade of shadow screamed in agony, but as they twisted and faded like smoke in the light, I stood resolute. The whispers that had plagued me were now just remnants of the dark past swept away by our courage. As dawn broke over the asylum, illuminating the walls that held such sorrow, I realized this might be my true beginning. We would continue to tell these stories. With every tale released, we would build a bridge to light for those left behind. Stepping out of the attic, hand in hand with Mary, I felt a warmth coursing through me. Adventure awaited. Healing awaited. And in solidarity, we would rise against whatever darkness came next. All the confines of the asylum fell away behind us as we stepped into the light, a transformative promise whispering through the air. Just before we exited, I turned once more to the remnants of what we had faced. You will no longer own this place, I shouted, the echoes twisting in defiance. And with that, the shadows trembled, the screams fading into a tranquil silence that we emerged into the dawn. And as the first rays of light kissed the asylum's ancient stones, I felt the chains of despair shatter behind us. I had reclaimed my hope, and in doing so, we had reawakened the spirits of the lost. From that moment forward, the asylum would no longer be a prison but a sanctuary where stories could flourish and healing could begin. Now, it's time for you to be a part of the journey going forward. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.